Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Eagles Perch. And this is the Match Day Live review. What a game that was! For those of you who have not seen the game, you're in for a treat on Match Day. The game finished 4-1. Crystal Palace first half were, well, shall we say, they weren't very good in the first half. We were very much on the back for most of the game in the first half. It was all Leicester, and you've got to say that the defensive display in the first half was absolutely tremendous from a back four of Ward, Sacco, Tompkins and Van Aanholt. What I'll do is I'll go into the team first before we go further into the game. Palace started off the game with Guaita in goal. Then it was Ward, Tompkins, Sacco, Van Aanholt, Luka Milivojevic, MacArthur and Schlupp in midfield. And then you had Townsend, Zaha on the wings and Batshuayi up front. That's Batshuayi's first start for Palace. The subs bench was Hennessy, Dan, Riedewald, Maya, Kouyaté, Benteke and Ayew. Tonight they really did. First half, it didn't look great. We were on the back foot for a lot of the first half. Leicester had plenty of chances. I think actually over the course of the game they had at least over 20 shots to Palace's. I think it was about 7 or 8, which I'll go into the stats in a little while. But yeah, for the majority of that first half, Palace were on the back foot. It was very much a very strong defensive unit though. Every time Leicester on the attack, Palace had 8-9 men back, literally crowding out Leicester. Managed to hold them at bay the whole of that first half. I was surprised they didn't manage to get a goal in the first half because they were all over us. And every time the ball was being played out of the back, it was just coming straight back at us. We couldn't hold the ball in midfield at all, and that went on for literally 40 minutes. And Palace hardly had a sniff up until that point. And then out of absolutely nothing, it has to be said, out of absolutely nothing, Crystal Palace managed to get a goal through Michy Batshuayi. Now, it was a good bit of build-up through the midfield, and MacArthur had a shot which sort of was from about 30 yards. It wasn't even on target. I don't even think it was going on target, but he hit it from 30 yards. And it was just a fact of Michy being in the right place at the right time. He swung his leg out. Now, from the replays that you'll probably see tonight on Match of the Day, and from the replays you'll see on Sky, it's not clear which part of his leg it hits, but it does hit his leg, and it's sort of he's already swung at it. So it's either it comes off his shin or off his knee. Either way, it's come off of him and gone in the back of the net. And I'm still trying to figure out if he really meant it, because there is definite a swing for the ball. I've been told I'm deluded because on Twitter by a couple of people, because I thought it hit his boot, but I keep looking at it more and more. But it looks like it's sort of hit his knee. He has swung his leg at it, but it's hit his knee and gone in the back of it. It doesn't matter. It's 1-0 Palace. And at that point, that was completely against the run of play. Darren Humphreys quite rightly says, why do we start like game slow? I don't know what it is. Palace of late have started off really slowly and built into the game. Whether that's to do with game management, I don't know. But at the moment, Palace at present seems to start off the first half very slow, which, to be fair, is a good thing, because if we're scoring goals in the second half of games and winning games in that manner, then we're not going to be in the bottom half of the table if we continue this up. But I mean, that first half was probably was poor from Palace. The midfield just didn't seem to be able to get the ball past the halfway line, and their attack, Vardy, Barnes, they were pretty much on the front foot for the whole of that first half. But everything seemed to happen in the second half. Palace, again, were, started off slightly slowly. Had a few. Leicester could have had a few more opportunities first off. They started off quite well, and I think Claude Puel pointed to that as well. But they just couldn't get through us. And it wasn't until the 64th minute where Palace failed to clear their lines. Quite clearly, you know, we got to get it into our back four, or at least that defensive unit. That at times we need to clear the ball. Doesn't matter where it goes, just hit it out. And Palace literally failed to do that for Jonny Evans' goal. And we were a bit unlucky because I thought we defended really well up to that point anyway. But the ball comes into Barnes, who scuffs his shot after Sacco comes in to sort of try and close him down. Scuffs the shot, and somehow Jonny Evans managed to get it past Tompkins into the bottom corner. And I must admit, it's a really well taken goal, because it does look as if he can't get, you know, he's not going to get there or get the shot off, because Tompkins has really closed him down. Hi to everybody who's just joined. But then Palace just so that gave Palace a second wind. After that, it just seemed to be a game of counter-attack, and it was just so effective today. And our next goal came on the 70th minute from Wilfried Zaha. Now, the piece of play before it is really, really a great piece of play by the attack. James MacArthur perfectly picks out Wilfried Zaha on the right-hand side. Michy was in an offside position, but he just waits there because he's not interfering with play. And the ball comes across, and he takes it first time on his right foot and knocks it into the bottom left-hand corner of Kasper Schmeichel. Knocks it past Kasper Schmeichel, and there's no way he's getting to it. The power that he put into that was fantastic, and you know, it was a beautiful sweeping piece of play by MacArthur. That was his second assist of the game. Moving on from that, we then it came on to about the 80th, 81st minute, when Palace were pushing forward again on another counter-attack. Sacco comes forward with the ball, sort of comes, you know, bombing forward with the ball. I don't know if you say he was bombing forward, but he came forward with the ball, knocks it into, I think it was to Schlupp. Into Michy. So it was into Michy. Michy has a shot on goal, which is then saved by Kasper Schmeichel. And Schlupp is on the touchline. He's on the left-hand touchline and comes running in to get to the ball. And basically, as he gets to the ball, he's brought down. Now, to give Schlupp his due, he doesn't start claiming a penalty whatsoever. He actually gets back up and starts running after the ball. The referees, by this time, pointed to the spot and given the spot kick. And Luca, ever dependable from the penalty spot, once again puts the ball in the back of the net down to Kasper Schmeichel's right-hand side. You know, he's dived to his right, to our left. There was no way he was getting to it. And again, Luca is ever so dependable from the penalty spot. He's only, I think, in the last 2 seasons, I think he's only ever missed really once, and that was against Man City. I must admit, as Laurie Scott has said, you know, when that equaliser went in, you did think Palace were going to start to fall by the wayside, but they just put the pressure on and counter-attacked to perfection. And then the final goal, the fourth goal, is a brilliant piece of play by Ayew. Ayew came on for Michy Batshuayi, and he is the instigator. He literally gets the ball back in the middle of the park. He chases down the defender who's brought the ball forward up past the halfway line. Manages to get it off of him. The work rate today, you know, for those last few 10 minutes. Chased down the defender, got the ball back, and then passed it. He just sort of ran forward and passed it onto the right-hand side to Wilfried. All Wilfried had to do was put it away. He was, you know, and it was the power, because Schmeichel had his hands to it. He got his hands to it. He actually palms it in the back of the net. But the power from that shot by Wilfried Zaha takes it past him. And, you know, it topped off a fantastic performance by Crystal Palace today. It was literally a contrasting game of two halves for Palace, and they really took it to Leicester that second half on the counter attack, and it just worked to a T. If Palace can keep up that momentum, I don't see why Palace can't go on to a top 10 finish, because they really did well. Darren Humphreys, AWB's first choice, but Ward is very able at backup. dwarves a place on the squad. I mean, yeah, again, I mean, you look at it when on social media this morning, there were people slating Ward, and he's dependable. He's he's now one of the more statesman-like players in the squad. Been here a while, knows the place inside out, knows how we play, and that if Aaron's not available, he's going to do a solid job at the back. And I thought he was very undeserving of all the criticism he was taking on Twitter this morning, and it was awful to hear it because he's been there since the promotion and when we were in the Championship, and he's done such a great job with Palace, and I thought he did so well today in that back four. And they were so solid. I mean, at points you could have thought that Palace were going to literally get thumped because we had to defend with our lives in the first half, and how Leicester didn't get a goal at all. It was just down to that defending by Palace as a unit. Sacco, Tompkins, Patrick Van Aanholt. I thought they were great, and Luca again, another solid performance in midfield. He was marshalling us very well. We did really, really well. And obviously, the only issue we've got with Man United coming up is Sacco, because I don't know if you noticed, but Sacco went off hobbling towards the end of that second half, and Dan came on. And obviously I would have thought we'll start against Man United, because I don't think Sacco's going to make it for the game because he was visibly hobbling. I don't know what he exactly did. It was in a clearance down the wing that he'd made and pulled up, and I don't know if he's pulled anything or jarred something when he kicked the ball away or whatever. But whatever's happened, he was struggling after he did that and hobbled off. And Dan came on, but Dan, as someone's pointed out, Collins pointed out, as great squad player will cover, and I think we're definitely going to need that cover. I mean, we're lucky we've got players like Dan, and we've got players like Tompkins, and we've got Kelly. I mean, Kelly can come in to replace Sacco if need be, and Dan's there, so that's the thing. We've got depth now, and I think that was the thing that was the biggest issue in the summer, and we've actually sort of rectified that with the players we've got, and I think we'll be okay now. And even Koyati, if need be, can play centre back. I know he had played centre back for West Ham, so there's plenty of backup there now. So just having a look at what people are saying on here. We're second on match today. That's fantastic. Makes a change for Palace to be second on the match today. Be interested to know who your man of the match was today, by the way, guys. If you want to know let us know who your match of the day, what man of the match was today. Colin, James, Sexton, hope Bats will gain confidence and go on and score lots now. Well, I hope so too, because he, again today, he sort of is very clever with the way he runs into the box and how he times his runs and what he's he just needs that someone to pass the ball to him, and he's good with his feet, and I can see him scoring a few goals for us before the end of the season. Joe Eagles, are the worst injuries when there seems to be no contact. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I don't know what happened with Sacco. As I say, he pulled up, and I can only imagine there's some sort of tear. Let's hope it's not a tear, but there's some sort of pull or something he's done, and it's certainly on the lower leg, so on his calf, I would suggest, or around that area, because he certainly pulls up. And let's just hope it's nothing serious, because we're going to need him for the running, even though if we have got some great cover in the side. Just looking through. Where are we? Just having a look through, seeing what Colin James says he knows realistically AWB is first choice, but shows great loyalty to stay as cover. Talking about Ward, yes, indeed, definitely agree with that. Darren Humphries, AWB's first choice, but Ward is very able backup. Let's have a look at who we've got. Laurie Scott, I think we've touched on that. Yes, we have. And Joe Eagles, a Predator goal from Batman. Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. He sort of that's what he does. He sort of runs onto the end of those sort of things and gets goals quite, So, that's what we needed, and I think that's what we were lacking. And the fact that we've got the Batsman in now is fantastic. Laurie Scott, Roy will have a plan for Man United, some including Jake Humry on VT Sport, focusing on his age. Old fool or wise owl? Good question. I personally think he's a wise owl. I mean, I know we've he's had taken stick at the beginning of the season for the run games where we were not winning. But I mean, with Palace are notoriously slow starters. We have been in every season we started in the Premier League. I think it's only one season where we've actually started on the front foot, and that was under Pardew. And then we sort of, that was the first time we actually started off, but just tailed off towards the end, didn't we? And we were in the top four for a couple of weeks. So, Palace are just, I think Palace are notably a slow team to start, but we're starting to pick up, and we're starting to pick up at the right time. And this is the right time to be picking up points, because we're now 6 points clear of relegation. The results have definitely gone our way today in somewhat. I mean, I know Newcastle won today, but they were playing playing Huddersfield. So really, to be honest, it's helped us if anything. And that bottom three at the moment, Southampton have got a game in hand. But I think coming the end of the season, I don't think we're going to, hopefully cross fingers, we're not going to be anywhere near that. Everybody's pretty much saying the same. Wise Alpha Roy. Anyway, just looking at the stats for the game today. These are the 5 big stats that come from the game. Crystal Palace have won 4 Premier League away games against Leicester. Against no other side have they won more. Also 4 versus Everton. Striker Michy Batshuayi scored in the Premier League for the first time since October 2017 for Chelsea against Watford. That's 490 days ago. Since the start of the 2014-15 season, no player has scored for more different clubs than Crystal Palace's Michy Batshuayi in the 5 big European leagues. That's 5. That's in Marseille, Chelsea, Dortmund, Valencia and Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace midfielder James McArthur assisted 2 goals in the Premier League game for the first time ever in 232 appearances. And since his debut in February 2017, Luka Milivojevic has scored 20 goals for Crystal Palace, more than any other player. So anyway, we'll see. I mean, if we look at the stats as well today, it's quite clear Leicester had more of the possession. Leicester had 65% possession to our 35%. They had 27 shots to Palace's 7. Only 5. Now, this is something that we can talk about because Palace at home are in the same boat. They had 5 shots on target. Palace had 5, put 4 away. Corners, 8 corners to 3 in favour of Leicester, and 7 to 14 fouls. Palace had more fouls in the game. Paul Pace-Carew just on my way home with the uncle who's a Leicester fan. Commiserations to your uncle. My uncle says hello, and he says a big win. It is a massive win for Palace today. And I hope you have a safe journey home, Paul. And I'll see you on no doubt on Wednesday evening for the Manchester United game. Anyway, yeah, Paul. Anyway, coming away from that, Crystal Palace boss Roy Hodgson's said in the interview on BT Sport the following: "It was a very important victory for us. We dug in extremely well and didn't concede many clear-cut chances. I'm really pleased with the way we established control in the second half, and we put away our chances. You do need to maximise the chances that come your way, and that is something that we certainly need to do when we are at home. Because, as I say, we've been doing exactly the same as Leicester, being 25 goal opportunities and only having 5 or 6 on target. We need to improve that. We really do need to improve that at home." Wilfried Zaha speaking to BT Sports said it was a massive result. Obviously, we're trying to keep the run going, and we came here and did what we had to do, which is no doubt. And obviously, with Wilfried Zaha's brace today, I mean, he had a fantastic part to play in the result at the King Power Stadium. Leicester manager Claude Puel said, "I think we made a good performance in the first half." Sorry guys, I do apologise. I had a sudden cut on my internet for some obscure reason, so I do apologise that you got cut off. I'll let the feed fill up a bit, but yeah, I was just in the middle of giving you a rundown on basically the game, etc., and it cut off all of a sudden. I don't know what happened there whatsoever. I do apologise, as I say. But yeah, as I was saying, Claude Puel after the game said to BT Sport, I think we made a good performance in the first half with good chances and good play, and then conceded the first goal with their first shot. It was difficult to find a solution because they played and blocked, but we tried a lot of good moves. He also went on to say, we came back with desire in the second half, but after the second goal, we did not manage the game right. It was difficult to have structure and stop the counter-attack, which I can't disagree with. I mean, on the counter, we were just fantastic this evening. Again, if I can just apologise for the break in the feed. That was just due to the fact that my internet went, nothing else, nothing I touched. It makes a change. It was just down to internet. So anyway, looking at the table, Palace are now 13th on 30 points. That's 6 points clear of the bottom three. Southampton are on 24 currently, and Fulham 17, and bottom of the lot, Huddersfield on 11. Looking at the table itself, Palace are above Burnley quite on goal difference, and if you look at the goal difference, it's ridiculous. We're on -4, they're on -17. So Palace, scored 31 and conceded for 35, played 27. Brighton and Hove Albion are a game behind, but that's because I think they're supposed to be playing one of the teams in the one of the teams in the cup final. That's by the Carabao Cups tomorrow afternoon. But we are 2 points behind Leicester. Leicester are on 12 points with 32 points. Everton on 33 points, and then AFC Bournemouth on 34. So Palace, I mean, we've got Man United coming up, which you would have to say is a free hit really for us. I think it's more the Brighton game we're going to be looking at, and the games after Man United, because they're playing very well at the moment. Just looking at the results from today as well, Burnley beat Tottenham 2-1. Bournemouth drew with Wolves 1-1. Newcastle beat Huddersfield. I think Huddersfield are doomed. I don't know about you, but I think they're gone. I don't think we have to. We got them coming up as well, I think, at some point towards the end of the season. And obviously our result against Leicester, we won 4-1. Now, what I'll do is I'm going to invite people on. I want to know who your man of the match is, but also would like to invite people on to discuss the game. So if there's anything you want to talk about, please press the thing. I think I've got one actually come up, and I believe it's Jon Knox. So, John, I'm going to bring you into the broadcast. I'm going to press approve now. Okay. Hopefully, it will add you in. Laurie's got the goal difference will count as an extra point if needed. I think 2 wins and a draw will be enough this year. I agree with you, Laurie. Hello, John. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. What did you want to say, mate?
What a great result and what a great performance from the whole team.
Oh, it was fantastic today, wasn't it? What did you think about the first half, though? Do you think we were a bit lucky to come out with it just with the 1-0? Because they were all over us the first half.
Oh, God, yeah. I totally agree with you with the first half. We were so lucky to come away with a 1-0 win over that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was a fantastic defensive performance. I mean, do you think there's anyone that stood out in that defensive performance in the first half for you? I mean, because they were throwing their bodies on the line at every opportunity.
God, yeah. I'll say Tompkins had a good game for us.
Yeah.
And Saka had a good game before he went off injured. Bit concerned about him going off, but when Dan's came on, he played very well, I thought.
Well, I think that's the thing. We're lucky in the fact that... sorry to interrupt you, mate. I think we're lucky in the fact we have got good backup now, as I think we were saying. So, we've got Dan who can come in, we've got Kelly. So, we've got that backup if leaving. I think Kelly's injured at the moment as well. So that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'd be Kelly that would come in for him. I mean, but that second half performance, what did you make of that second half performance, John?
Oh, that second half performance was wonderful. The way that we moved the ball for that fourth goal was outstanding. Batshuayi getting his first goal for the club, I thought that was brilliant. So I had another wonderful game for us.
Yeah,
and hopefully that'll spur us on to get a point against United. Hopefully on Wednesday night.
Yeah, that's it. I agree with you. I mean, it's the fact that we need that momentum going into the game. I think that was the thing. If we could pick up points today, it just gives us that momentum to go into the Man United game and hopefully pick up something. What do you think about Man United? Do you think we can pick up a point in that game?
I reckon we can. If we play like we did at Old Trafford, as I was at the game at Man United, if we play like we did at Old Trafford, I think we can come away with a point. I know they're on fantastic form at the moment. They had a bit of a dip against PSG. I've got a funny feeling they might lose tomorrow night against Liverpool, but you never know. I've just got a funny feeling that Liverpool might beat them
Yeah,
tomorrow
I think
afternoon.
the only thing I'm concerned about is the actual pace that United have, and especially under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they're actually utilising the pace more than under Mourinho. Isn't that a worry for you? I mean, because we've got players like Rashford who can change a game, Martial. Do you think that maybe Palace might find it too much on Wednesday? Because the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer factor is going to come into it.
Oh God, yeah. The Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will come into it, but they've got fantastic pace. But I still think if we can come away with a point, I'll be very happy. Even if we come away losing 1-0, I'll still be happy because how Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has not got the permanent job full time, I'll never know. But what do we know? Hey, we're just Palace fans.
Okay, and finally, I'll just ask you, who was your man of the match today, mate?
I'll give it to Tompkins and Sacco. Them two at the back were just fantastic for us.
Yeah, they were fantastic. I think that's the thing. I think today that our defence was brilliant. I mean, the first half, I think we had at times 7, 8 people behind the ball and were just defending for our lives in that first half. And the second half, it was perfect kind of counter-attacking football. So no, I agree with you on that. I agree with you. Anyway, listen, John, I'm going to knock you off now and get someone else on. But thank you very much for coming on. All right, mate, and take care. Yeah, I'll see you soon.
No worries. Thanks for having me on, John. You're doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
Cheers, John. Thanks so much. Take care.
Cheers, mate. Take care now.
Take care. Right. So, anyway, if anybody else wants to come on, please. If you don't know how to do it by now, there's a little icon while you're watching this at the bottom of the screen where you can press and you can come in and join me and talk about the game. Let's have a look and see what else is going to be. I got Anthony who wants to come in, by the looks of it. Anthony's... Oh, no, I say that's me. Sorry, Anthony. Joe Eagles, Zaha versus Young will be key, I believe. Could well be. I mean, I'll be interested to see how Ashley Young does deal with Wilfried Zaha. I mean, he's run rings around him in the past. And it'd be interesting to see if Aaron Wan-Bissaka's back as well, because him up against, I think probably it would be Martial on that wing, won't it? I would have thought for that game if Martial's fit. Or Alexis Sanchez, because I'm not being funny. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, even up against some of the best he's played in the division this season, there's not many have got past him. So it'll be interesting to see with those matchups. So what have we got? Jamie Skinner saying Tompkins, man of the match. Okay, and Darren Humphreys, I said it last time, John, but Tompkins was an absolute steal. Absolutely, can't disagree with that. Don't understand why West Ham got rid of him. They were telling us when we bought him that he wasn't any good. No, can't see it myself. He's been fantastic, hasn't he? Ashley Martin, you hit the bloody button again. No, I didn't on this time, mate. That was my internet. Nothing to do with me this time. I was in the middle of actually talking when it went out. So that's not me. And as I say, Laurie Scott earlier said the goal difference will count as an extra point if needed. Think 2 wins and a draw will be enough this year. And I'm not being funny with the way the table is going this year. I cannot disagree because, it's a fact of that bottom 3 at the moment are struggling. And I think it's going to be between Southampton and Cardiff, if I'm honest. I don't think anybody above those 2 teams are going to have any struggles now. I think it's between those 2. I think Newcastle even pulled themselves away. Now, their new player that they've got from the MLS today, I've forgotten his name, Almira, is it Almira? Absolutely, that's apparently played an absolute blinder today against Huddersfield. It was absolutely fantastic, but that might be just down to the fact that Huddersfield were down to 10 men quite early on. Anyway, so we are second on MOTD tonight. Yes, Sam Golay, MacArthur has been getting a lot of stick. He has indeed, I know. Recently, I think he had a brilliant game today. Exactly what we needed in midfield. I think this is another argument, and that's the fact of a lot of people are saying that Maya should play over MacArthur. Now the thing is the fact that Myers a fantastic player. Don't get me wrong, but he's more in it for me. And I don't know what anybody else thinks. For me, he's an impact player, and he seems to do better when he comes on as that and makes an impact on in the second half. Didn't come on today because we didn't really need him. But in some games, when Palace are actually not looking too good in the second half, towards sort of normally the last 25 minutes, he comes on and has the ability to change the game and play that killer pass when you really need it. And for me, MacArthur should start, just because of the fact he's an absolute engine in midfield, and he's had 2 assists today. You know, what more could you ask for from a midfielder? Joe Eagles, big loss for Cardiff, possibly demoralising. I was looking at it from the side of Watford, and we've got to play them in the Cup quarter-final, and when you see them winning games like that, absolutely annihilating the team, was it? I think Delafeu got 3 goals, and Troy Deeney got a brace, didn't he? I think it's 5-1. He ended up, yeah. You know, I think, not being funny, that's going to be a tough game against Watford in the Cup. Hopefully we'll beat them, but it is going to be a very, very tough game. Joe Eagles, so that's, Joe Eagles, Jimmy Mack plays between the lines beautifully. He does. And I think he's very, very much underrated. He's an underrated player. And he goes about his business quietly, does it well, and you know he's non-stop running. You know, and he's not a spring chicken. And let's be honest, he is one of our more older statesmen in the squad again. But you know, he does the work that you need in midfield. He clears up really well, and he knows how to keep the ball, and when and okay, there's every now and then he will lose the ball in midfield. But we've got plenty in defence now, and we're a very good defensive unit, and players like Luca will mop that up, and so, no, MacArthur's a good player in midfield, and as I say, very underrated. It's Jamie Skinner saying Jimmy Mack was immense. Sam Goulet, totally agree. If it's 0-0 60 minutes, then you bring him on. Exactly. That's the thing with Meyer. That's the sort of thing we want as an impact player. I remember we used to have players like that. I mean, at one point, I think... We used to play Salako as our sub back in the 90s. I know there was going, sometimes as he was, we would find that Salako was that impact that we needed to bring him on, and he would create the space and create a goal, and that's what Meyer does. Meyer's that impact player. I quite like Meyer in that sense. Joe Eagles, Jimmy has a great footy brain, which most people don't see, and I agree again. Jake Hallward, Schlupp needs to start more often, in my opinion. He's, again, another player that at the beginning of the season, he was taking so much stick from every section of the Palace faithful. And I think, no, there's not many people who will admit to saying that they thought he would come good again. Because there was points during the beginning of the season where he was absolutely atrocious. But the last few, I think it's like the last 4 or 5 games, he's been absolutely fantastic. And that goal for the penalty we got was all down to Schlupp and his movement. Because if he hadn't run off that wing to go and get the ball that Schmeichel had saved, and fair play to Schlupp, he could have stayed down. He could have stayed down on the floor and milked it for all it's worth, but he didn't. He got back up, went straight for the ball, and the referee had already pointed to the spot. So, Schlupp of late has been fantastic, and that goal he even took against Doncaster was fantastic. Yeah, Joe Eagles, Schlupp has deserved stick. Has undeserved stick, excuse me, put my teeth in, but has also improved big time. Exactly. Where are we? Jamie Skinner, definitely start batsman Wilf Wednesday. I agree. Darren Humphries, PVA's taken stick over the last few weeks. Deserved or not, John? I must admit, he's going through a very rough patch. It's very unusual with PVA because at the beginning of the season, when he was playing quite well, and he got a couple of goals, and he's sort of gone off the boil a bit. He was very unlucky the other week where I can't remember which game it was. I think it might have been against West Ham. It was against West Ham where he had that volley from like 30 odd yards, and he was unlucky. But he's at the moment he hasn't really excelled himself like he can do. I mean, we know he's capable of much better. Laurie Scott says PVA is the glue in that defence. It's a fact with PVA that I think he is definitely capable of better, and I'm just hoping that he sort of starts showing that a bit more. Because at the moment he hasn't got anyone who really can push him for a place, because, as we know, Suarez out, Papa Suarez out with a, I think it was dislocated shoulder, broken arm, or whatever it was. So he's not going to be back for a few more weeks anyway. So not many other, and the only other person that can possibly take his place is Kelly, but Kelly's not really a wide player anyway. And Ward is the only other player who I can think of doesn't really play very well at left back. He's a right back. So, it's difficult because, I wouldn't want to put Schlupp there, because Schlupp's been playing better in midfield rather than at left back. So, I think PVA's just lost a little bit of focus, that's all. Yeah, I mean, players go through these. I mean, look at Wilf. Wilf, for about 6-7 games, looked absolutely off the pace again. I know he sort of had that issue against Southampton, and sort of came back into the fold. Didn't really, but of late he's coming back into it again. And today the brace, well deserved. So I mean, players go through these fits and starts, and I'm sure there are other players that will go through those sort of issues. I mean, they will all go through it at some point. It's just how you bounce back from those poor performances, and hopefully PVA will be one of those that will bounce back from it. Jake Horwood could definitely see we were missing AWB today, especially with the pace of Barnes. Yeah, I mean, Ward isn't the quickest, fair play, but I still think he played exceptionally well in that back four. But I mean, it's a fact of it, as I say. We all got different opinions on that, and I just thought Ward did very well. Obviously, without AWB, you haven't got that extra pace in at right back, but we did okay. Joe Eagles, they're all human after all. Exactly, they are all human after all. Anyway, what time is it now? It is going up to 25 to 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it there, because obviously it's a fact of I don't think we're having anybody else come in on today. It was nice for Jon Knox to come on and give his thoughts on the game. But guys, I'm going to let you go. It's been a fantastic day for the Eagles. A 4-1 win. We're 6 points clear of the drop zone. What more could you ask? Bring on MOTD, I say. Guys, good night. Enjoy the win, and see you on Wednesday. Cheers.